Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is our first ever eye patch specific call. So we're gonna have a PowerPoint I'm gonna pull up in just a moment as well too, and kind of go through everything. But this is the first time that I've really, catered a call specific towards anyone that has purchased our high performance adhesive eye patches, and you can, wear them regularly or just every once in a while, or maybe you just needed them for a short period of time, or maybe you're even here if you're just like curious about them, but you haven't like purchased them either. I wanted to be able to answer questions and, go into, adhesive, the products, the behind the scenes of what's happening now as well too. I always love to bring everybody along for the journey. So we're going to do all of that in our PowerPoint today, and then there will be space as well too for you to ask any specific questions. I also received a few questions already from people that couldn't make it, so I'll answer them as well too. And then, a little like community connection and getting to know one another as well too on this call. Hi, Emily. So glad that you're here. So I'm going to pull up my screen. Like I said, I made a PowerPoint, which I'm like, I mean business. If I have a PowerPoint, I don't do PowerPoints too often, but this one presents. Okay. Oh, give me one sec, of course. Okay. Uh, okay, hold And this is probably why I don't do PowerPoints often because I get like, how do I do this? Okay, share my screen. Where's my screen? Share. Okay, we got this. We're gonna figure this out. Okay, now present. I'll do it this way. Present. Okay. Okay. And we're not. All right. There we go. We got it. Does everyone see my screen and it says adhesive on it? Okay, perfect. So adhesive, and as you all know, we have our high performance adhesive eye patches. And like I already said, welcome to our first ever eye patch specific call. And the first thing I just want to go into is the why. And I actually want to know all of your whys as well too. So if you want to put in the chat, I love an active chat, like why you're here. Like what made you want to come to the call? Was there something specific that stood out? Was there something specific that you want on this call? Or if we do more calls like this, specific thing that you want. So if you have a why you took the time to log in tonight and get on this call, share that with me too. I'd love to know why you're all here. And then my why, obviously, I love anytime I can get the community together. Like it's always been, that's how iHesives started from the beginning, was like getting people together, like through our blog even. And then I started doing these free monthly virtual meetups like this before we even had our product. We just like people that had lost an eye or had eye injuries or different eye related stories. And then, it was like I've run a couple memberships and the Eye Connect virtual conferences. If you've been on the conferences, we've done 4 of those. So I've always loved to get the community together. There's something, so special for me to get on Zoom. In person would be like the ultimate thing, which we're doing that at the retreat, but like there's a big difference between consuming social media and scrolling social media and watching people's stories and hearing them speak and just like consuming that on that end. And then there's another level to this when we're like on Zoom and we get to like see each other and we get to interact and we get to talk and we get to see where everybody's at and hear their story, and just there's just a different level of connection there. And so anytime I can get the community on Zoom. Also, as far as like our product, these adhesive eye patches and scaling them and getting them out there, like, I want anyone that already wears them and advocates for them to be part of that journey. It's like I always call this, I'm like, it's a community, but it's also a movement where it's always been people like sharing the word and talking about adhesive and being involved in the community. And so the way we can do that, is to get on calls and talk about what that looks like and what opportunities I have for each of you or all of you if you're interested. And then, of course, just like the energy and the buzz of being in the room as well, too. So each of these calls that I do from here on out will, probably be a little bit different and tailored a little different depending on what you all want and where we're really going as the vision continues to expand and evolve. So this is kind of like our first test one, we'll call it. And then, oh, why is it not going to the next screen? Okay. And then the little table of contents, I just want to really quickly go over. I'm Shelby. We'll go over my story a little bit, what iHesive is, because I do know that there are some new people on this call. So if you're new, you can put new in the chat. If you are an OG, which means you've been on a call with me or a lot of calls with me, like Emily, I know you've been coming pretty consistently for at least the last 6 months or so with everything. And so if you're an OG and you've been on one or more calls, you can put that in the chat as well too. But I just want to go over so you understand who I am, my story, and what iHesive is. Of course, our vision and our mission and our vision moving forward. I'm always in this energy of like moving forward with iHesive, and I really want that to trickle out into like everybody that I interact with. And so I know a lot of people that come into my space, especially if you've had an eye injury and or eye story that kind of is something that happened later in life, we have this sensation, or I don't know, I had this feeling that I'm like, I want to do something with this. I want to make a difference. I want to impact people. I want to, spread awareness. And so, it starts out maybe like a really small context of just like helping one person or a couple people. And then I want to just encourage everybody if you are on that journey, and maybe it doesn't even have to do with your eye, it can be other things that you are constantly like evolving, like letting yourself evolve and expand the vision you have for your life, if you have a business or for your relationships. And so it can go in all different directions, but my vision's always expanding. I'm always evolving. I'm always on this path of growth. And I just want this movement to also be doing that in their own lives with your own story and never being afraid to evolve. So I'll share the vision where we're going now and our mission. Obviously, any feedback that you guys have about the eye patches, any questions, any tips and application. Like I said, I have some questions that I've received already, so we'll go over that. And then how you can get involved and what is next with iHesive as well, too. And if you are, maybe, if you're really feeling active today and you want to be in the chat, you can put down. I'm always curious what their perception of iHesive is. So like, what do you know about iHesive? And so if you want to put that in the chat, you're welcome to. If you already have an idea or you already know what we are, just your instant first impressions of iHesive. So what do you know about iHesive? And then I'll go into, of course, what it is. I saw that some things in the chat, so let me take a look here. iHesive is such a powerful community. Being a part of it is my why. I love that. I've been wearing my eye patch pretty regularly through Um, this freezing cold, so it's very current. I also want to join the community, like Shelby said. Thanks, Emily. Hi, everybody. Liz here, calling from Brisbane, Australia. I just love that. What time is it in Australia right now, too?
About 10 past 10 in the morning.
Oh, okay, okay. Not too crazy.
Perfect timing. I was worried that I would line up with the Pacific Standard Time or whatever, but it's perfect.
Yeah, oh good, good. I know sometimes
Yeah.
I've had people on the call at like Aya's been on the call, I think at like 2 in the morning before because she's in Japan or like 1 in the morning. So what time is
Mm.
it there now? I think it's
Now
probably
it's like 9 a.m.
9
Yeah.
a.m. Okay.
It's
Sorry, I'm in New York, so the cold is crazy over here. Eye patches are hugely helpful. Thank you, Emily. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. And I want to bring up something about why people wear eye patches, and I think that this is a really good piece of like content that you could bring forth. And we'll talk about this in a little bit, but thank you. Yeah, I think that's so important. And I love when I go home to Utah where it's really cold, I always use my eye patches there as well. Okay, so I think most of you kind of know what iHesive is, but iHesive and again, this vision's like really evolving for me again. So I started out, losing an eye. I had an eye injury, a snowboarding injury in 2021. Had my eye removed. Didn't know anyone with one eye, didn't even know people lost eyes. I was kind of like the doctors, great care, whatever. They gave me a prosthetic, sent me on my way, and I was like, wait, I need more. I want community, and I just felt really lost and alone and isolated. So I sent out to social media, which I found tons of like influencers and like really young, thriving people with one eye. And I was like, I'm gonna be okay. Like that was my first like sense of relief, and it felt so good to know that I was gonna be okay. But I felt like something was still missing, and it was this like having these calls and these connections with people. And so I was like, well, maybe I can kind of fill this gap. And even if I can just help one person, with my story, and I knew that like sharing my story would also be really healing for me. And so like iHesive really just started out as like a place for me to share my story because I knew that would be healing. And then I knew for other people, like a place for them to connect and share their stories, because like the foundation here is like sharing your story, hearing other people's stories that you can relate to, and then creating your own why as well too. And so the journeys kind of looked a lot of different things over the years with a lot. I mean, it's always had that through line of community and sharing your story and getting involved with this movement. And then the why just kind of gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and who we can impact and how we can impact. And I always didn't, I used the eye patches at the very, very beginning, like regularly for the first whole year. And I did not like love the option. So that's where I set out on this mission to create better looking adhesive eye patches that were thinner, more sleek, more discreet. And it took me like 4 years to get them on the market because it was just, doing things like that. I'd never done anything like that. So I ran into every roadblock, like you could imagine. And finally, on June 20th, 2025, we launched the adhesive eye patches. But at that point, we'd already, like I said, did all of the community building and in the conferences, and we have the in-person retreat. And so it's just been this journey that I've always kind of let evolve and just kept following my heart the whole way. And as we expand even more, I've really taken on this, and I'm going to talk a lot more about this probably on this call, and if not on future calls as well too, but this deeper like mission and wanting to really, I don't know if it's like educate or inspire people about eye health and eye protection and eye care. And so a little even expanding, outside the one-eyed community or for the one-eyed community, but really, protecting the vision we have left in our seeing eye. And so bringing more of an emphasis on this eye care, eye protection, and eye health, which is where all of you are going to come in as well too throughout this journey. But I've really, even I love the one-eyed community, and I want to be here and serve the one-eyed community, but I feel like there's this bigger calling that we can help even more people when it comes to just eye care and awareness. And I know you all have your own stories, which can aid in this as well too. So I'm really excited about that. And then of course our high performance adhesive eye patches. I think that's yeah. And like, I've always said this and will continue. It's always going to be more than just a product on the market. It's like this movement, and it's like for people, because I feel like all of us here have a story, something, everybody has a story, but we have a story where something happened somewhere along the way, and we had to like make a decision to either rise or not to rise. And we've all made this decision to rise. And so I just always want to like have this emphasis for people that, really refuse to like dim their power and to use their story to create, good things out into the world. And so we've got a lot of amazing things coming up. But that's a little bit about iHesive. And okay. Oh, okay. So our vision, and I'll go a little quicker through all of this. So, because I kind of already mentioned some of this stuff, but number one vision is this global movement. It's always been global. I've always, shared people's stories from all over the world and connected with people all over the world, where your care meets confidence, community, and courage. Like I was just saying, where you kind of come in as well, too. So, this big emphasis on like being our most confident, radical, like self-loving self and like courageous, and how much courage it does take to share your story or to put yourself out there or to be of service or to help other people or to look in the mirror even and see someone different than you did before. Like stepping into that new identity of acceptance, and maybe the path hasn't been as easy or something is, you're having all of these obstacles, but you continuously get out of bed and like do the things you need to do each and every day. And it could take so much courage, but it's always like leaning into that courage and using the community to help you as well too. And so again, the vision is this global movement, and then two is the products. So building a category defining line of eye care, eye health, and eye protection products that set a new standard. So right now we just have our high performance adhesive eye patches, but I'm in the works already of creating some other products on the market as well too, which I'll be sharing a little bit about this on the call. And then again, we'll have more calls to talk about this as well too. Okay, our mission really quick. Again, to remind people that if you have a story, you have power, and to never underestimate the power of your story. This has just been my experience through and through. And so this is like really the thing that I can lead with is like your story has so much more power, even if it just helps one person, whether that's on social media or just walking down the street. Like, don't ever underestimate the power of your story and what you can create with your story. Like from the beginning when I shared my story on social media to now, it's been a crazy almost 5 years, and it's been really hard. And there's been so many ups and downs and blessings and miracles and challenges. But at the end of the day, it's like I cannot believe what's been created and the people I've been able to connect with and meet with, and the experiences that I've created for myself and been like the opportunities that have been given to me from sharing my story. So, a huge thing I'll always like encourage people. And again, this is like, I'll never make someone do it that doesn't want to do it, but I'm always out there saying, like, share your story. If you have that nudge, that whisper, that like little gut feeling to do something with your story, to be of service, to share your story, like go and do it. It's like I know we can get caught up in the thoughts of like, what are people gonna think? Like, is my story that good enough? Or is my story even worth sharing? It's like we have all of these limiting beliefs or these excuses that can deter us from sharing our story. But it's like if you have that feeling to share your story, to do something with it, to create something, to put it out there, like I will always, I have your back and I say go. Like we don't, like mine just started with a feeling. And so I know what a simple feeling can do. And I know the power of a feeling, and that we should listen to those feelings in our hearts, especially. Um, and then the mission two is raising the standard for eye care, eye health, and eye protection for all. So this is really that bigger picture, like where we are going, obviously with the eye patches and having more colors and more options for kids and different designs and things as well too. But I'm also looking at, array of other kind of like supplements, eye hydration, eye health for the vision in our remaining eye for all of us here. And so it's become really something so clear to me and so apparent that just I feel like is not talked about enough. Like we talk about our hair, we talk about our skin, we talk about our teeth, we talk about our nails, we talk about working out, we talk about being physical, like physically active, eating well. I mean, we talk about drinking water, but like I feel like the education and this emphasis on getting annual eye care like checkups and protect like using the right eye protection depending on what you're doing and the right like supplements or the right hydration or just this overall understanding of like how the eye works and how we can best keep the longevity of our vision, because we also put so much strain from computers and our phones. And like, I mean, we all do it and it's okay. And I know our eyes adapt, but also it's like the long term, when we're putting all that strain on one eye, I've noticed, and maybe you can share your experience, more red, itchy, dry eyes by the end of the day. And so I'm like, is there a product? Is there something we can create to help alleviate some of that redness. My partner, my boyfriend, he's got both of his eyes, but he also at the end of the day like has the reddest, like itchiest eyes, and he's been starting to wear blue light glasses, and they've helped immensely. And so, like really talking about that and putting a product on the market that helps with blue light, and so there's a lot of like little options and things that I'm looking at. And if anyone has any like suggestions or feedback on what you would desire or really use. I've been looking at like creating a supplement and a hydration line as well too. And so, I'm open to to the community's input as well here, but that'll be something else that will come to market this year in 2026 as well too. Let me peep the chat really quick. And oh, I've lost the chat. Okay. Well, I'll look at it in just a moment. I'm not sure what was in there, but I've lost the chat. So we'll keep going and then we'll go back to that in a moment. So we're going to first go into kind of having this conversation about the eye patches first. So application, any tips, any questions, any feedback, and we can kind of have an open conversation around this as well too, because I really want to dive into this and I want to make sure that everyone's questions about the eye patches gets answered. And then the next few slides are going to be about how you can get involved currently now and what's coming next as well too. So I'll go a little bit deeper onto what I was just saying and what that really looks like. So application. So obviously, like y'all have seen the package. I think you all know how to like put it on, and I've made videos about this as well too. And you can wear the eye patch up above the eyebrow, or of course underneath the eyebrow. I have really discovered they work the best. If you like, I put it over makeup all the time, and I don't really have any issue, but I've had few people say like, oh, it's lifting a little bit like, quicker. And so I just know, when it comes to adhesives, as long as the skin is dry and clean and no oils or lotions or sunscreens and things like that, make sure that, really dry, clean, apply, and then really press down the edges of the adhesive. When I do that, like I can wear it all day long. I teach hot yoga, I work out, and I've done multiple activities back to back, not had any issues. I even went swimming with one time and it lasted still all day when I had it on for the pool. It's not something that I'm like marketing to because they're not really like waterproof. But it was a cool little test and it really did work. And maybe anyone can drop if they're having any feedback with application, if they're not sticking, if you found anything that works or doesn't work, feel free to share that in the chat, and I'll open up the call in just a moment as well too. And I did want to answer one question for let me pull up Jessica. She wasn't able to make it live um, today, but she sorry, I have to find. Okay, I would love to see tips on application when I did hot. Okay, so she said when I did hot yoga, I had a hard time getting it correctly placed with my eyebrow so sweat wouldn't run in it. So this is a really great thing because I think still like how we have it, on, and if we're sweating a lot, sweat could still run down and inside of it and then get trapped in there. And so, which could feel really uncomfortable. So I think it is again, like a really pressing it down and making sure that it's getting really well down around on the top so when it's sweating. And then also what I would do in hot yoga too is like with a dry towel, I kind of just like continue to pat like when I have little breaks as well too to like kind of press it back down and to like remove any sweat. So that would be definitely my recommendation. If anyone else has any, you're welcome to share as well too. But just again, that seal down really well. And then I think using a dry towel throughout your yoga practice to remove any sweat as you're going to just help it from absorbing too much, liquid or water. I would love to have like a legit like waterproof eye patch, and that is another thing that I'm also looking at and creating too with the fabric and the material and the adhesive, because there isn't one on the market right now too. So that is something I'm working on, just leveling up or upgrading that product, the product material to make it, be waterproof. But right now it is going to be this little balance of like, okay, it's still kind of a band-aid. And so we have to try to keep it as dry as possible, even though it will last relatively well in sweat in those kind of sweaty conditions as well too. And so keeping it dry with the towel or really just reapplying and pressing down with your finger. I'm gonna stop my screen here, come back to all of you, check the chat, and I need to go now, but I'll expand this movement into Japan. I love this community. See you soon. I definitely notice eye strain when looking at screens too much. The blue light blockers help me too. Yeah, I had no idea that the blue light blockers like made that much of a difference until my boyfriend like started wearing them, and because he'd get the reddest like craziest eyes, and when he wears his consistently all day, like it's night and day, and so I'm like, oh my gosh, there's something. And I just think that I've been doing some more like research and like studying this stuff because I'm like, I feel like no one's talking about this, and like should we be, talking about it more and protecting our eyes more, and how damaging is it really for us in the future? I feel like we're the first generation to have screens the way that we do. So it's been like on my heart to like really kind of dive in and educate myself on this topic. And so just love anyone else's feedback as well too, and what would be useful. Or and I think sometimes it's one of those things where because we don't talk about it often, and like if I hadn't lost my eye, I was very, and you can share with me if this was you too, but like and I still do this sometimes too, but like what's the word, like I didn't know people lost eyes. I like hadn't been to the eye doctor in 12 years. It was something that was like, well, I can see, it's fine. Like just very out of sight, out of mind type. And let me know if that was you as well too. And anyone can unmute as well too if you want to chime in during this part. Um, but I just like didn't really like take my eye health seriously. Like I'll be the first to say, like I just never thought about it. We weren't really like taught that growing up. We, like went to like the school eye doctor or whatever, and because I could kind of see it, like I don't know, it was just never had that much education or that much concern. And so when I lost my eye, I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that there were all these eye doctor specialists. And then, it really put me on this journey to think about like the vision in my good eye and what that looks like for me in the future. And so I just feel like um, it's just conversation that doesn't have isn't had a lot. Jimmy said, I also press down the edges when I put it on and it lasts all day. I've been wearing them at night to sleep since I got my prosthetic, but my socket is still pretty swollen, so my prosthetic is pretty bulgy and it makes it hard for the adhesive to stick. But that's more of a me problem than an adhesive problem. Okay. Oh, so is the skin up here around your eye bulgy too, Jimmy?
Yeah, so I'll try to zoom in. Like my lid's super hooded right here, and it's like two totally different eyes, I feel like right now.
Oh yeah.
But it's still bulgy on the bottom lid, and then my eye is really hooded, and I can tell it's swollen. So it's
Yeah.
just like I just feel like the patch kind of just gets pushed out, and then I wake up and it's like half on, half off. But I still try.
Yeah. I mean, I see exactly what you're talking about when you come in, but on camera they look pretty good. Like how
Yeah.
I did want to check in because I know you just got your prosthetic. How is it feeling overall?
I feel like it's settling in. It's not as bulgy. I felt like, those goldfish with the big eyes on their head. I mean, they
Yeah.
kind of felt like that for a minute, but it's settling in. It's getting more and more comfortable. I just kind of have to be patient with myself because it's still swollen and I know like it won't be like this forever. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, on camera, it looks really good,
Thanks.
but I know we're always like our worst critics when it comes to
Yeah.
this and like nitpick, but I'm glad that you're like so open-minded to like, okay, I'm gonna give it some time, gonna let it settle in. But when do you go back for your checkup?
I don't, well, I see my surgeon in like February 17th, I think.
Okay.
But with my ocularis, he just said I have 6 months to get it adjusted,
Mm,
if I want to. So
okay.
my swelling should end around like April, May. So I figured I'd go back around then because that's still before the 6 month warranty on the prosthetic eye, and then I'll just get it adjusted from there.
Okay.
Unless something else comes up and it starts getting painful or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Just keep an eye. Don't be afraid. I think I, shared this before. Don't be afraid to like reach out if there's like if it feels like it's really not getting better or there's anything really weird going on or it feels really off, just make sure you're super happy with it.
Right.
Amazing. Just want to make sure and before we go on to like our next slides, if anyone, Liz, Michelle, or Emily, or Jimmy, have anything that you want to share about the eye patches, your experience with them, application, anything about your story, you're welcome to share as well too, or any feedback or questions.
Can I just say, I think oh,
No, no,
someone
go.
else. Oh,
You're
go
good,
ahead.
Jimmy.
It's fine.
Okay. Um, my story was a lot similar to Shelby's, where I was like, like I didn't know eye cancer was a thing, and I was diagnosed with ocular melanoma, and I was, I think, 25 when I was diagnosed. So, one, I didn't know eye cancer was a thing, and then two, I mean, I was just, I had perfect vision before that, so it was like, what, like, how did this not come up beforehand? So I didn't know I was supposed to get annually dilated eye exams. I didn't know any of that until I was actually diagnosed. So, um, I guess kind of similar to your story, Shelby.
Yeah. Yeah, it's super like powerful because I wouldn't have known that either, And so now I, obviously get my eyes checked every year, but it just and you're not the only one either, Jimmy. Like I know like a lot of it feels like oh like this rare case, but it's like maybe on the rarer side, but you're still not the only one. And it's like preventable on these things too, when we are able, not, not always, and it always like depends, but when there is something that's preventable and we can educate people on that, then that's like in our power to do that.
I agree.
Thanks, Jimmy.
My story, I don't know. It was a long time ago. I had a brain hemorrhage or a stroke, completely unrelated to the eyes. So my recovery for the last 10 or 15 years or whatever, it's like my eyes were sort of the last thing on my mind, and I um, was just sort of just living with the fact that I had double vision. So, like, I went to a surgeon to see if they could do anything, and he wasn't prepared to risk it. So I used to put things on cheap variety store glasses to like block out the double vision when I'm looking at screens or trying to read a book or something. Um, but I just knew eventually it would get to a point where I'd have to make a choice, like, oh, maybe I need to just permanently cover this eye or something. So that's where I'm at the moment, that crossroads of like just starting to wear a patch on a regular basis. And like, for example, yesterday was my first day at work wearing the patch. So it was like this like it took a little bit of courage to like sort of come out to my workplace about like having this thing that if you'd look at me you might think, oh, maybe something's a little off, but it's all happening under the surface. So anyway, I feel like I'm rambling, but that's sort of where I'm at the moment. So my journey's sort of beginning in a way, my eye journey at least, because I need to start taking the eye health seriously. And even just you mentioned, Shelby, something like, oh, now that I've got one eye, like I need to really take care of this other eye because it's the only eye that I've got. And I'm like, oh shit, I need to start thinking about that because that's very true. So um, that's where I'm at.
Thank
Over and out.
you. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, thank you. I love that you know, and it does take courage to like wear an eye patch or to like go to our work, you know, or sometimes to like even talk about our stories, you know, because there's so much underneath. And I've worked with a lot of clients like through this, and I've had my own experience of like, well, again, what are people gonna think? Do they think that I'll be like capable still, or they're gonna judge me, you know, or think that I'm not, you know? So it's like there's so many of these things, and we just want to like power through and be strong and independent, and I don't need this. And so being able, one of the first things, you know, that I really had to learn at the beginning was like asking for help and receiving help, and like doing these things of courage and putting myself out there, and not always having to feel like it's almost like we get to be, the strength is in the vulnerability as well too, and so like learning to be more vulnerable as well too. But yeah, so thank you for sharing. I could really like relate to that. And then also, yeah, and it's when I talk about, eye care and protection, it's always like from this energy of like, being proactive, because I also don't believe that like we should be in fear or not leave the house or not do the things that we love to do still, or live in fear because we only have one good eye. Like I would never like preach that, but there's this level of like, okay, well, what can I do? I know if I just show up doing the things that I can, the universe, like everything's gonna still be okay. And I don't have to like live in fear all the time, but I can do things now, like go get an eye checkup or wear blue light blockers or like, certain eye protection when I'm out and about, to just, help limit or minimize what could happen in the future, potentially. So not to like fear anybody or place any, deep fear on anybody here, but like I think we can do it together, and I think it'll be really, big for what we could do for people inside the community and outside the community as well too. So, Emily, I don't know if you're working or busy
Yeah,
or want to chime in and share anything.
just in the streets of New York. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
we can.
wonderful. Just echoing kind of what you guys said, like I lost my eye when I was a kid, so my whole family has been super diligent about eye health, but I
Mm.
know that's not the case with my friends or anyone else. So I do think it is sort of a niche thing, or a niche concern, that people just don't really take into consideration, and they should. Um, I started wearing my patch regularly just a few weeks ago, and I was super nervous about it. I don't really know why, but it was just a different perception for my friends and my coworkers. Are they gonna think something's wrong? Are they gonna um, think something happened? And only a couple people asked me point blank, if I was okay, if something was wrong, and of course nothing. I was just covering it because it's so cold here, and it's super helpful with the freezing temperatures. And when I was talking to my mom and my friend about it, just saying, oh, it went over super well, and um, I felt pretty good about it. I felt like it looked nice. I felt like people didn't judge in any sort of way that I had expected, um, or thought could happen. Um, One of the questions posed to me was, well, did you want them to ask? Isn't it weird that they didn't ask or point it out? And I don't think that's the case. Um, I think with the prosthetic eyes and stuff, it draws more questions because it's something that people don't know about, so they're curious. But when it's an eye patch, everyone kind of knows what that is and what it does. So I feel like the questions are fewer. Um, but I thought that was an interesting take from someone who doesn't need or choose to wear one.
Thanks, Emily. And I'm gonna put you on a mission here. I can't remember if you share, you don't have to do this, but if you share too much content on social media, I feel like you've shared a little bit. But if you're in
Yeah,
wanting to share more, do you want to share more content about your story and stuff?
I I do need to share more, on Instagram specifically. I feel like I've used TikTok because it's a platform that less family friends and less people who are super close from when I was a kid um, follow me. It's more people that I've met as I've grown up. So it feels a little bit safer to share, but or it did at the start. But I want to be braver about sharing on the like quote unquote family platform.
Yeah. Well, I mean, wherever you can do TikTok or Instagram, it doesn't matter, or both. But I
Mhm.
want you to share your experience with the eye patch and like specifically because I've been getting, so just in the last like few days, I've had two, in my mind, it's like, oh, you know why you have to wear an eye patch if you have to wear an eye patch. Like, and so, but I've had people like message me like, why do you need to
Mhm.
wear, why would you need to wear an eye patch? You know, and I'm like, oh yeah, like people aren't really like knowing all of the reasons, and that's why I'm like there's like 100 million reasons why people need to wear an eye patch. But I think it'd be
Mhm.
so cool, like for each person to just share their own experience. And so,
Mhm.
Emily, if you're up to it, I'm putting on a little
Yes.
mission to share about, and I love the like the cold, why you're wearing an eye patch, like the cold and being in New York and in your story as well in there too. So if
Mhm.
you do tag iHesive, I'll share it, or you could collab with me too, and I'll share it too. But I was just thinking about you when I would like literally, I was like,
Yeah.
people, I want to be pushing out more content as to why different people
Mhm.
wear eye patches.
Yeah, it's definitely something I want to do. So when I have some spare time, I will get that together.
Awesome. And you look so good on you. I saw you on the subway, like
Oh,
black eye
so
patch.
fun.
I'm like, dang. Awesome. Thank you, Emily. So glad you're here. And then Michelle, I know this, I'm pretty sure this is your first call with us. I don't want to put you on the spot unless you are wanting to come up and share anything. Also, is Audrey your sister? Is that her name? Is Michelle still there? I don't know if she's even still there. Michelle, maybe she's just listening. Okay. Michelle, if you decide you want to share something, just unmute yourself or you can put it in the chat as well too, but no pressure either. All right. And I'm going to share my screen again, and we'll go back to our.
Hi, Shelby. It's Michelle. Can you hear me?
Oh, okay. Yes, yes. Sorry, I didn't want to.
I'm so sorry. I don't know how to use Zoom properly, so I don't
It's
even know how to
totally.
access the chat.
Oh, you're
But
okay.
I'm actually listening on behalf of my daughter,
Um,
who recently had a traumatic eye injury and is not quite ready to share her story. She's got a good one, but I'm Audrey's mother.
oh,
And
okay.
so we, in conjunction, have been helping sister daughter Gabby,
Okay.
and she just started wearing your patches and said they're life changing. She's loving them.
Okay. I'm so glad that you're here. Yeah, Audrey had reached out to me and so I love when families come together because that is what we really need. I'm sure all of us can like speak to that. Um, and if people do want to share anything, but like that's what we need. And especially in a moment of like an injury and something that's so like life-changing or life altering like that. And it's
Yeah.
it's a long process and it's definitely longer than I thought it was going to be or longer than I wanted it to be. And so it really took me like that first full year. It sounds like I think you said she had an injury. So like it was a really like that full like first year. And I'm not sure, again, her whole story, but between, different surgeries and getting that prosthetic eye, if that's the journey
Yeah.
she's going to have to take and really coming up onto like that anniversary as well too. And so just letting her know that like I don't know if she's listening, but when you speak to her that it's like it's okay and it might take a little bit longer to get driving or feeling normal or to have her energy back and there's a lot going on to like adapt from one eye to two eyes and and she's not alone and it's okay to just like have a lot of grace and a lot of rest right now and I slept so much at the beginning and just needed to like really really rest and let my body heal and adapt as well too.
Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah.
the words. Yeah, it's all really fresh for us. We're
Yeah.
muddling through, but we appreciate all of your content and your products. So
Oh, good.
thank you.
Good. Yeah, you're not alone. And the best thing, yeah, I was like just all my family and friends just being able to help and support me and just be there And then it was like eventually I got to a place where I was like, okay, I'm ready to share my story and to talk about it
Yeah.
as well too. So I love that you're here for her.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Audrey seems so sweet too. Okay, good girls. All right, so I'm going to go back here and we'll finish over here. Okay. Oops. All right, so obviously right now our product portfolio, we've got the black and the tan adhesive eye patches, which you all know this, but each pack includes 48 single-use individually wrapped adhesive eye patches. Just simply, peel, apply to clean, dry skin and go. No straps, no bulk, and all day hold. And then, I spelled that wrong. What we were just talking about with Emily is like, educating or talking about why people need to wear them. And I think what is like actually really cool on this call right now specifically is like all of our reasons are so different and every one of our stories is so different. And that's, I think, like it's always been that way. And it just blows me away that we can have such different lives, upbringings all over the world, have even very different stories, but we have this one little through line right here that like connects us together, and we're all in a room when sometimes like we shouldn't all be here together, but there's like a beauty in that as well too, because the people I have really met along the way have like transformed my life, and really the injury that I had, and being able to just have a community and have people to plug into. So I think, if you're on this journey of getting more involved and wanting to share about the product and, put yourself out there, always sharing like why you wear an eye patch or why do people need them. And then we of course have like our One Eye Gang merch. That's not set up in an affiliate program yet, but it might be in the future. I think I need to just switch these two slides, but here's what's coming next. So oops, what is this thing? Okay, so really I want to dive more into this, and we'll be pretty quick on this because I will have future calls that are really like for people that are like, yes, I want to be involved, I want to be an affiliate, I want to be creating content. I want to be collaborating with Iheesive. I want to be sharing my story. So there'll be like probably, eye patch specific calls for like the community so people know that they're not alone and they can share their story and connect with one another. And then there'll be kind of calls that are more for what I call our vision driven partners, but I'm going to share some of that right here as well too. So our vision driven partners is our affiliate opportunities, which I'm refining that right now because we're also moving from the platform we're on right now to Shopify. And once we're over on Shopify, it'll be a lot easier of a process. And I think, I don't know if any, Emily might be affiliate. I can't remember. I know some people that had signed up for this call are already affiliates, and I'm going to drop the link for you guys too if you want to sign up and be an affiliate. And how that really works is, if you're talking about the eye patches and why you wear them and you're sharing them on social media and your experience with Iheesive, and you'll have your own affiliate link, you can share that. And anyone that purchases a pack of eye patches like through your affiliate link, you get 20% commission as well too. So it's just kind of fun if you're out there like wanting an angle to share about your story and your experiences. And I think it's like, that kind of jumping off point as well too. You can always like tie in your experience, your story with the eye patches, and then share your affiliate link as well too. And that will just can earn a little extra commission on the side too. And what's coming soon is going to be a lot more details on this, and even like a branding packet. And so I won't go too much into that because you'll need to see it, but essentially it'll be kind of everything you need like provided to you. So you'll have like kind of Canva templates and branding templates where you can plug in your story and you can share it. It makes it really easy. You'll have all of the information in one place. Obviously, you can share your own story, but you'll have more assets and visuals and information about Iheesive and the product and different kind of like marketing angles. So you'll be getting just like packets that will help you to produce more content. So that will be an option too if you're really like diving into our vision driven partnership. Of course, you can just share on social media, share your story. I'm always a big advocate for this, like when and if you feel ready. And if you're just out there sharing your story, whether it's about the eye patch or not, tag iHesive because I always love to reshare these stories. Or if you are wanting to collaborate or co-create with me, DM me. I'm always open to ideas and suggestions. And sometimes this looks like Instagram lives or just content that is like a co-creation, or it's a content that you're creating and you just add us as a collaborator on it as well too, which just expands your reach and visibility. So if you're going down this path with social media and sharing your story, make sure to tag us or reach out to me. And I love to co-create and create content as well too. And then this last little column is like connecting us with your providers. So your eye care team, your eye doctors, eye surgeons, ocularists. If again you're on this mission and you're wanting to get involved and you're wanting to talk about the eye patches more and you have a relationship with any of your eye, professionals and you feel comfortable and want to talk to them about iHesive, that's great. Like I was just telling Elizabeth, one of the guys in our community, his name's Shy. He like has been talking to his pharmacist in Australia, like, hey, you gotta carry this product, you gotta carry this product, you gotta carry this product. And he got me in contact with the pharmacist in Australia, and the pharmacist just placed an order, like a wholesale order, and I'm shipping out eye patches tomorrow to him. So now it's like iHesive's going to be on the shelves in Australia, which is where Elizabeth lives. So now she, in the same area, we just found out, she'll be able to go buy them in Australia so she doesn't have to come, buy them online and have to pay for shipping, as well too. So just another, little option out there. And the way that will work too, you can reach out to me. We can talk about this. I'm pretty flexible with this at the moment because I don't have a very like solid protocol for this. But if you like, as far as like, the commission rate, obviously I want everybody like paid for their time and their involvement. And so depending on, your involvement in getting, the product in that specific center and stuff, we can really like talk about what that looks like on a commission basis. As well too. And right now I'm like really flexible because there's no structure. And so I just want whatever makes the most sense and whatever would benefit both of us equally. Also like Jess that I would like had just had that question. She, really simply said, I have an appointment today with my ocularist. Oh, hold on. Sorry, I was talking too fast. I have an appointment today with my ocularist here in Washington. I'm taking a bag of your patches to give to them to hopefully pass along to their patients. My ocularist is very highly recommended by my surgeons and eye doctor. Super excited to share your patches with them, and I just said, thank you so much. And obviously you can pass the customer care email address onto them if they want to reach out to me, or you can get their contact information and pass it to me if they're interested, and I can take it from there as well too, and continue on the conversation and share the wholesale opportunities that we have as well too. So again, if that's something that you're like, oh, I'm going to my doctors, I want to talk to them, or share with them, like you're more than welcome, or pass their information to me as well too, and I can follow up on that as well too. So again, right now, like I said at the beginning of this call, this is kind of like our test call and our test phase with all of this. And so there's going to be a lot of flexibility. I'm going to be doing a lot of different, like, let's try this, or let's do this, or let me see if this works. And we're going to just refine over 2026. So the big goal here, in 2026, okay, just want to make sure, is we're getting on Shopify is our first thing. We'll be on Shopify by April. It's going to give us a lot more options for like subscriptions and bundles. And that way, if you're using your affiliate link through those things too, you'll get like higher commission rates and stuff as well too. So it's just going to get a lot more streamlined in our affiliate program. Once we get to Shopify, they have a lot more features for all of this kinds of stuff. And then once, we're on Shopify, really dialing in over the next 2026, like our affiliate program and our vision-driven partnership programs. Anyone that wants to be involved will have more frequent calls and community spaces. We'll probably have continuing calls similar to this for the community throughout the year. And then, my big goal this year as well too would be to get another set of colors on the market or designs on the market for the eye patches specifically. And then, hold on. And then also starting to introduce some more products on the market that are good for the health in the remaining part of our vision as well too. So we've got some big plans for 2026, getting more products on the market, just expanding our reach globally, getting our name out there more, having more of you connected in the community, talking about the product, being really involved wherever you see fit. Obviously, right now, the best way to get involved is sharing on social media, collaborating or tagging with us, or talking with your providers. And of course, you can have an affiliate link right now and start earning commission as well too if you're sharing that affiliate link with anybody that you know on social media or just anywhere. I know some of my partners, like they have like well established, business or like social media presence, and they have email lists and stuff like that as well too. You don't need any of that. Totally fine if you have a small following, and you're just sharing your story because you never know who's going to see it. Like you could share your story and your story is going to resonate more with someone than my story does. And like that's the coolest part about here. It's like we can all be sharing our story, educating, putting things out there, and it's like never gonna like dim anyone's light because we're all so unique and our stories are all so unique as well too. And someone needs to hear your story and they're gonna connect with it more than they're gonna connect with my story. So it's just really cool. So this is all going to get more refined and more streamlined as time goes on, but we're just going to have a lot of fun with it right now as we, continue to build out these spaces. Quote, I just really liked this. Vision is the art of seeing what is invisible to others. So it kind of went along with the post I made today with like, if you have a vision for your story or your impact or how you want to create your life moving forward, like you might be the only one that sees that. And sometimes I feel like I'm like a crazy person. I'm the only one that like sees my vision. And I think that's okay. And I think not even sometimes my mentors are even like, wait, whoa, Shelby, you're like so out there. And I think we can always like play in that. And that's like okay if it's invisible and others don't see it or understand it. And I'm always gonna tell you like go after your heart and go for that feeling. And especially when I first was healing and laying in bed and I started to like share my story on social media and I kind of was like, there's something here, and I think I felt like, no one could really see that in every level, in everything that we're doing. Sometimes it feels invisible, feels like, what am I even doing? But just to keep trusting that path for yourself. And I've always found a lot of like purpose and fulfillment and creating a why from that place too. And this is okay. And then really quick, just a little like, we launched the adhesive eye patches on June 20th, 2025, the same day that the Elio movie premiered. Let me know if you've seen the Elio movie. It was like just like this perfect timing. I had the eye patches and I saw a commercial that it was like going to premiere on June 20th. And I'm like, we have to launch on that day. So like lined up perfectly, which all things I feel like line up perfectly when we talk about, yeah. Since launching, we've been, consistent daily sales, driven primarily from our social media directly to our website. We've tested paid ads, with positive early signal, and plan to scale further after we transition to Shopify. So Shopify, I want to put more paid ads out there for the adhesive eye patches. And then also a big thing when we're talking about sales for 2026 is getting on Amazon, TikTok Shop, to increase visibility, accessibility, and sales volume. So if anybody knows anything about TikTok Shop or Amazon or paid ads and wants to get involved in that end, that's a conversation for a different time. But that's again, bigger picture where we're going this year. And I always love to open up opportunities for people in the community, especially if you already know those things as well too, or interested in learning those things. And then, of course, my contact information, you can always reach me at the customer care at iHesive, our website, um, iHesive on all social media platforms. And then we do have a Facebook group that's the Adhesive Eye Patch Community. I will be the first to say that I'm like terrible at like keeping up in the Facebook groups. I really do want to be better at building them up and like keeping interactions going. But I just started that Facebook group. And then the other one that I have that's kind of more for the whole community is called the One Eye Gang group. So it's the One Eye Gang Facebook group as well too. So yeah, neither of them, I've like looking back, I'm like, I wish I would have put a lot more emphasis on these Facebook groups. It's never too late. So we're gonna start to do that now. But I really would have poured more time and energy in building up these Facebook groups, but we're gonna do that now. So if you're not following them and you want to follow, go jump in there and I'm gonna try to like get them started back up as far as like people interacting and sharing and talking in those Facebook groups as well too. And then just a little thank you. So I'm gonna stop sharing a screen. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. Let me check the chat. Um, oh, I loved Elio. Yeah, it was so cute. If you have not seen the movie Elio, you have to see it. Yay, colors and patterns. I'm excited for the expansion. Thanks, Emily. I also pressed down the, okay. Perfect. All right. If anyone else had anything that they wanted to share real quick before we kind of wrap up tonight's call, you can share that in the chat or jump off or unmute yourself. And so again, if you're like wanting to share content, you can just go out, share content, always tag me if you want me to reshare something. If you have another creative idea for content, please reach out, or you want to share your story on iHesive's platform. Like Jimmy, I know I've shared your story. Emily, I'm not sure if I've shared yours yet, but if you want to share your story, reach out to me. Just you can DM me on Instagram, and then stay tuned. If you are really interested in being an affiliate, DM me as well too, or being any part of like our vision driven partnership and kind of getting involved that way. More details will roll out as well too with all of that when we, kind of bring together like a branding guide and just more content and information on how that's really going to work this year as well too. So stay tuned. And if you liked this kind of call, let me know as well too. I do want to do more of these regularly, once a month or every other month, where it's like kind of specific for the eye patch community, and bringing more people in. Thank you, Michelle. I'm so glad that you are here, and sending all the love to Gabby as well too. All right. Thank you, ladies. Gonna end.